Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Community Work Services event, raising critical funds for Double Impact. Thank you all so much for being here to support CWS and this important project. I'm Erica Tarantel, anchor and reporter for WCVB Channel 5, and I'm thrilled and honored to serve as your MC, coming to you from our Needham studios for what promises to be an inspiring and moving event. CWS is near and dear to my heart. My close relationship began in 2018 when I visited to do a story about the one and only Colette DeVito, the founder and owner of Coletti's Cookies. Her large nationwide distribution uses a kitchen housed at CWS, and she hires many CWS graduates. Then I was able to highlight the incredible Daniela McGinnis in another story. She, with the help of CWS training and mentorship, is now the Boxer Hotel's front office supervisor. And just recently, I did a piece about Double Impact, which is why we're all here to celebrate. CWS has many more stories of impact and transformation, stories that Boston needs to hear, especially during these difficult times. And I can't wait to cover the next amazing story. So keep them coming, Craig and Tanya. So being that this is a fundraiser, we hope to raise $20,000 over the evening. We do have an anonymous donor who will match the total amount raised, provided that amount is higher than $10,000. So let's get to that figure and hopefully even more. So now I'd like everyone to join me in a fun activity. Pick up your phone, now open a new text message, address that text to 50155. The message should be CWS 143. From there, you simply follow the prompt. And in case you were wondering, 143 is the number of years CWS has been operating. These numbers will also appear at the bottom of your screen throughout the evening. And you can also donate via the CWS website by clicking on the donate button on the top right-hand side of your browser. So let me say in advance, we are grateful for every donation. And now please welcome Craig Stenning, Executive Director of CWS. Craig, take it away.
Thank you, Erica. We're so thrilled to have you with us again this year, and grateful for your support throughout the past 2 years, actually. You have truly become a part of the CWS family, and we welcome you back. I'm honored as Executive Director of CWS Services to work with such a dedicated team who have worked throughout this pandemic to keep CWS open and providing valuable job training and job readiness services. CWS's 143-year-old history is dedicated to helping individuals with barriers to employment. Whether it is a lack of job training, dealing with a disability, coming out of the criminal justice system, or individuals in recovery, these individuals need our support services now more than ever before during this pandemic. And even more importantly, CWS, with a dedicated staff, was able to launch our new Double Impact program during this crisis. We began by providing meals to first responders and frontline hospital workers who were working long hours, shift after shift, day after day. Building on our initial success, we expanded Double Impact to community centers, senior programs, and homeless centers. These meals are being prepared and delivered by young people who had been unemployed and facing homelessness. Can you imagine how difficult these times would have been for these young people during this pandemic? No job training, no skills, and no place to live. But thanks to Double Impact, they now have the skills to work in the culinary business, are collecting wages, and they have housing. This is the Double Impact. Food for those without, and employment skills for young adults who had been homeless. This is why we need your help tonight. At last year's Gala, we had a paddle raise that netted over $20,000 for our emergency fund to help clients with housing, transportation, and other emergency needs. This year, the funds raised this evening will go directly to providing additional meals and job training. Every $10 raised allows us to feed another individual. Imagine how many people we could feed with $20,000. I'll let you do the math. We want to begin by thanking our double impact sponsor, actually two-time sponsor, the Eaton Fund, which has been helping CWS for many years. And today, we want to thank a new sponsor, Bullhorn Inc., and its founder and CEO, Art Pappas, will join us later in the program to talk about the new combination of career collaboratives with CWS. And we also thank Marble Harbor Investment Council for being our culinary sponsor this evening. And now we ask you to begin to raise your virtual paddles by texting CWS 143 and address it to 50155. The instructions are also at the bottom of your screen. We begin by asking anyone who could donate $5,000 to start texting us now. To further inspire you, we would like to show you a short news video that Erica and Channel 5 produced for their news show.
Now 5 for Good, finding work during the COVID-19 pandemic while helping others from going hungry. The Double Impact program now underway. On the menu, veggie chili, rice, roasted carrots. Amina Johnson adding that pop of color to these soon-to-be donated meals.
I found the purpose that I've had a long time ago when I lost it.
It wasn't long ago that Amina, who's 23, was struggling not only to find work but also shelter. Now she's been trained, is actively bettering her own circumstances and helping others.
We are providing meals to senior centers, to homeless shelters, to community centers.
Craig Stenning is Executive Director of Community Work Services. For over 140 years, CWS has been helping people with barriers to employment, offering job training, placement, and support services. But 2020 has been a year like no other. COVID-19 forcing some programs to pause and making work harder to come by.
Our key focuses are in culinary, in hospitality. The hotels are still closed. Commercial cleaning and most of the offices are closed as well.
To rise to the challenge and respond to the pandemic, CWS teamed up with Break Time, a nonprofit that serves young adults experiencing homelessness, for an initiative called the Double Impact Program. Participants in the CWS culinary training programs like Amina now make meals for people in need.
First venture with that was to provide meals for hospital workers and frontline people. So we provided hundreds and hundreds of meals initially to them.
They were just gleeful to see their meals, and it made me feel happy. It gives me purpose.
Government grants have helped. CWS gets referrals from Break Time. That's how Amina connected with the program after facing some fears.
My depression and just also not having the courage to find jobs.
She says running a bakery cafe has always been her dream. Now she feels it's one that could come true.
I look at myself in the mirror and be like, yeah, I'm wearing that chef hat. I got it.
Our next speaker is Paul Davis, principal of Marble Harbor Investment Council and chairman of the CWS Board of Directors. Paul has led the CWS board for over a decade and is a key player in the growth and expansion of the organization. Please join me in welcoming Paul.
Good evening, everyone. It's such a privilege to be part of this amazing organization, and especially to be here today to celebrate all the good works. For over 143 years, CWS has been making a difference in people's lives. Throughout that time, the organization has continued to evolve its services to meet the changing needs of our Boston community. In 2020, we've done it again. This pandemic impacted our youth in ways none of us could have imagined. Businesses have closed and many, many have lost their jobs, and at a time when young people are just starting their careers. Double Impact is one incredible solution. Young people need jobs, and people in Boston are hungry. And through this initiative, CWS has once again stepped up and made a difference. Thank you, Craig Stenning, Tanya Figelman, all our participants, and the entire CWS team. You all do Boston proud. I'm so pleased to present tonight's Civic Responsibility Award to Welch and Forbes, the trustees of the Eaton Fund, which is our primary private sponsor for the evening. Accepting this award on behalf of Welch and Forbes is Seth Gelsthorpe, a new member of the CWS board.
Thank you, Paul. I am delighted to accept this award on behalf of Welch and Forbes. And I accept this award on behalf of generations of Welch and Forbes partners and staff that have been supporting CWS for many, many years. And that endurance speaks to the endurance of CWS, because CWS is an organization that it is constantly able to adapt to changing conditions. The last 7 months have been an incredible adaptation and change so that it continues to be able to execute its mission. Likewise, Welch and Forbes has been able to adapt and change to different conditions so that we can continue to support the mission of CWS. Thank you.
Now for a special moment in tonight's program. Tim Hughes, who works at CWS as the Commercial Cleaning Program Manager, will share with us his remarkable story.
My name is Tim Muse. I was born in Gloucester, Mass, and for most of my life, I worked as a fisherman and a longshoreman. The work is tough, and I gradually fell into a pattern of alcohol and drug abuse until eventually I became a full-fledged drug addict. After going in and out of jail for minor crimes, I was sentenced to 20 years in state prison for a terrible crime where someone lost their life. Doing time is not something easy to explain. I became depressed, and I spent lots of time wondering if this was all worth it or if I should just end it. I remembered what my dad told me once when I was younger and we were driving past the prison in Concord. I can still hear his voice telling me, "Timmy, if you keep doing what you're doing, you will end up in there." I didn't know how right he was back then. And when the van drove through the prison gate for the first time, I heard him like he was sitting next to me. It was so powerful. After spending a few months in prison, it was like I woke up. I was 33 and I knew it was time to change. It took tragedy in a jail cell to get me to the point where I could recognize that I still had potential. So while in prison, I took classes. I authored a blog called Between the Bars that was about prisoner mistreatment, and I became a forceful advocate for prisoner rights and prison reform. I organized legislative information sessions and attended multiple meetings of the Massachusetts Legislative Harm Reduction Caucus, a coalition of legislators working to address the root causes of mass incarceration. In 2010, I went public with facts about a pervasive sex for snitching system in the state prisons. At first, legislators did not believe me, but when I presented the evidence, they were stunned. This was a big deal, and it made a real difference. The prisoners treated me like a hero, but prison officials retaliated. I was transferred to different prisons and spent quite a bit of time in solitary. I was finally released from prison on June 21st, 2017, and I was scared. I had never seen a cell phone, never been on the internet, and it was a whole new world. I found an apartment in Dorchester, and serendipity brought me to CWS. I had become friends with former Governor Michael Dukakis. We talked while I was in prison, and he asked that I come and see him when I got out. He suggested I go to a program that happened to be located in the same building as CWS. I asked a few questions about what CWS did, filled out an application, and enrolled in the commercial cleaning program. I just needed a place to start over, a place that would give me a chance. No one at CWS treated me like an ex-con. They just gave me the chance to start again. They respected me and they clearly cared. They helped me learn how to interview, and while they helped me to get other better paying jobs, when a position opened up and they called me, I took it because CWS is where I wanted to be. I am now the Commercial Cleaning Program Coordinator for CWS. I love my job and I love helping with the Double Impact Program. We do the cleaning and disinfection in areas where they make meals for the hungry. I am blessed with 2 beautiful daughters. They kept loving me no matter what. And I have 2 amazing grandchildren. And my fiance and I bought a home together. We've been there for over a year. When you get, you have to give. I want to help others, and the best lesson I try to teach young people is that they have to realize how worthy they are. The world may have told them that they don't matter, but they do. They have to respect themselves. They need to find a way to love themselves. All of us, we need to expect more from the person in the mirror. Without your support, CWS cannot keep transforming lives like they helped transform mine. Today, I have a life second to none, and I give that credit to CWS for giving me a chance. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. And it's quite an honor for me to share in this very, very special celebration. And to also represent the New England Council. The New England Council is the oldest regional business organization in the United States. And we represent colleges and hospitals and health centers and energy companies. But also, we represent an awful lot of non-profs. And CWS is a non-prof. And boy, have they been hit hard. They've been hit hard by the pandemic, like so many others. But this is what I admire about CWS. They continue the mission. You know, they're constantly being faced with challenges, but they never lost sight of why they exist. They exist to provide programs for people in service. And they've done that. They've done that with passion, commitment, strength, and perseverance. I've spent my whole life advocating for people with disabilities, and my career has always reflected my passion for disability rights. That is why I am committed to CWS and their mission. I know what they do, and I am a huge, huge fan of what they do day in and day out. To me, they're heroes. But you know what? Heroes need help. They need helpers. They need people who will step up to the plate and be a donor. And that's really my message tonight to all of my friends in the business community from all over New England. I'm asking you to join me in giving a donation. Now more than ever, CWS needs our support. And I know that if you give, you're going to feel good about giving. And you're going to begin, and you're also going to be able to help an awful lot of people out there that, quite frankly, do not have a voice. They do not have an advocate. If it wasn't for CWS, these people would be forgotten. Now more than ever, do me a favor, step up to the plate, donate.
A culinary project must have a chef, so now it's time to meet Double Impact Master Chef Greg Kaplitz. So Greg is the Culinary Arts Department Manager overseeing the CWS Culinary Arts Training and the Double Impact Initiative. Craig was one of the key architects of Double Impact and mentors all the program graduates. We could not do this without him, and we are very excited to have him here tonight to say a few words. Welcome, Greg.
Good evening, friends and supporters of Community Work Services. I would like to thank you for participating in this virtual event in support of our Double Impact Meals program. I would like to say a few words concerning one of our teammates, Mark Evans, who we lost earlier this year. Mark was instrumental in helping us in the early days in the creation of our Double Impact program. This program, to date, has served over 44,000 meals and helped more than 15 former homeless young adults to learn life skills and transition to full-time employment that will enable them to support themselves in the future. Mark actually helped us receive funding from the Boston Resiliency Fund. This funding, along with our partner Break Time, led to the creation of this remarkable program. We continue to be driven by Mark's spirit. Mark had a positive, upbeat nature. No problem was insurmountable. This is essential for someone who, like Mark, has battled back from so many of life's difficulties. Mark was a returning citizen, and he battled substance abuse for much of his life. But in the last year, Mark worked with us. He turned his life around. He was an inspiration and led by example, always willing to mentor the young people and show them how their lives could be turned around, just as he turned around his. I remember clearly when Mark told me about his diagnosis, and he asked me, can I keep working? And we, of course, said yes. Unfortunately, it was not in God's plan for Mark to continue to work throughout his treatment. Within 2 weeks of his diagnosis, we lost Mark. That loss we still feel today. Double Impact is what it is, in large part because of Mark Evans. I would like to ask you all to keep Mark in your prayers, and that we have a brief moment of silence in his memory. Thank you. On a personal note, I miss Mark tremendously. He is in my heart where he will remain for always. To his family and friends who joined us tonight, thank you for letting us be part of this wonderful man's life.
The real story of CWS, and especially the story of Double Impact, is the success of the participants who enter our doors looking to turn their lives around and develop the skills to help them begin a career. This is the second year that we have selected a past participant for the Robert Falls Participant Award. Bob Falls was a longtime board member, loved here at CWS, and in particular, he was deeply committed to our culinary training program. Cameron Corbett came to us to change his life, and not only did he graduate from our culinary training program, but he immediately became an important part of the beginning of Double Impact. And now he is working for us here at CWS. Congratulations, Cameron. We have asked Cameron to tell his story for all of us tonight, and we are presenting him with this year's Robert Falls Participant Award.
Thanks, Craig and CWS, for this amazing award. I am humbled to receive this award, and I share it with my family, Chef Greg, and all my colleagues at CWS. As Craig mentioned, my name is Cameron Corbett. I was adopted when I was 6 years old. My adopted father was going through a very hard time because my adopted mother was passing away. And I don't know if any of you can just imagine, the pain that he must have been going through, losing the love of his life. But he still, took me on and gave me a home and a place to stay. When I was 10, my dad remarried to a lady and her daughter that were not so nice to me at all. Then my dad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's when I was 14. They call it the long goodbye, and I get it. You can't imagine the pain I felt. The first time my dad didn't know who I was, it was heartbreaking. And just seeing him slowly lose who he was, that was something that I couldn't even, bear to deal with. And, for the longest time, I was going through my dad's death alone. I didn't have anybody. I went into the DCF foster system at the age of 16, and I moved around from group home to group home, which caused me to end up going to 7 different high schools, which was very tough. And that was on top of what was going on with my dad. Part of those factors is I kept running away from my group home to go visit my father because I wanted to see how he was doing. I wanted to check up and see if he was okay, 5 painful years later, when I was 19, my father finally passed away of Alzheimer's. I spent a lot of time living on the streets. It wasn't easy, but I learned a lot. I made a lot of friends with the law, all sorts of kind of the wrong people. I got into trouble. I got into trouble with the law. I got in trouble at school. A lot of crazy stuff happened. About a year ago, I got robbed and beat up by my so-called friends. And this kind of, knocked some sense into me and woke me up and made me realize I want more for myself. And the lifestyle I'm living right now isn't getting me anywhere. So I signed up for a housing program over at Bridge Over Troubled Waters. A housing counselor there found me a job at Break Time Cafe. And this led me to work at CWS and my mentor, Chef Greg. I don't think I would have stayed in this job if it wasn't for Chef Greg. He reminds me a lot of my dad. It was hard, but he filled me with motivation and determination, and he made me want to come into work every day. I don't know where I would be today without Chef Greg and CWS. I started to feel good about myself and where I was going in life, and started to reach out to other homeless youth as a youth advocate and telling them, don't get too comfortable with your situation. You can always do better for yourself, always. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit, we began to prepare meals for the first responders and others who were hungry in Boston. I was thrilled when I became a program supervisor and in a full-time position in the Break Time Cafe. I have personally served over 44,000 meals. I'm in a good place in my life right now. I'm going in the right direction. I'm getting ready to go back to college. I'm learning on how to budget. I've finally been able to save money. For the first time in over a year, I have a phone again. I've been able to pay my bills for the last couple of months. And I know my dad would be proud of me.
Hi, I'm Art Pappas. I'm the founder and CEO of Bullhorn, a software company here in Boston. And I'm also the chairman of the board of a nonprofit called Career Collaborative. And I'm really excited to be here, both as Bullhorn is a sponsor of the event, but also I'm really excited because Career Collaborative is joining forces with CWS. And we announced that this week in anticipation of this Double Impact Gala. We're just so excited to be a part of this and be here because Career Collaborative has spent the last 21 years teaching adults in the greater Boston area how to build careers that transform lives and strengthen families. And we work with adults who are ages 19 and up to help them learn how to find a job. So we have a job readiness program. But what's special and unique about Career Collaborative is that once we help people find a job, we follow them for 2 years. And that mentorship that we provide during that 2-year course helps people when they have a stumble, helps somebody when they're in a new job and maybe they encounter something in their life that makes it difficult for them to keep going. And we're there to catch them, pick them up, dust them off. And so many of us have had mentors in our lives and that have helped us with our careers. And that's something we probably take advantage. But if you think about the mentorship you've had in your life, it's probably had a huge impact. And the participants who go through our program, they tell us that the Career Collaborative coaching has a huge impact on their life. And so you combine that with the work that CWS does and the thousands of people that CWS serves with some great mentorship to make sure that once somebody gets a job, they stay in that job, which is so critical for people facing barriers. It's going to be a really, really great combination. We're just so excited. CWS has great leadership. There's a great organization doing amazing things. So I'm excited about being a part of it, and I hope you'll be excited, and I hope you're going to support CWS going forward and the work that we're going to be doing together. It's really, really exciting, and thank you very much.
Thanks to all of you for attending this evening and supporting the Double Impact Initiative. I would like to make a special shout out to the Eaton Fund and Marble Harbor Investment Council for their sponsorship. This event would not be possible without your generous support. We may not have been able to meet in person, but through these magical, invisible, wireless connections, your deep commitment, dedication, and passion for CWS and Double Impact is coming through loud and clear. So let's continue to make a difference in the lives of Bostonians who need our help. I know CWS will. And if you'd like to contribute to Double Impact, the text lines will be open through the evening. Remember to text CWS 143 to 50155 and follow the prompts to make a contribution. Until we meet again, either in person, on TV, on social media, so many different channels to connect and engage. Have a great night, and thanks again for tuning in.